his reputation into the stratosphere.
Absolutely. Ted Lerner, thank you very much indeed for that. The next match is Manny Perez against Shane Van Boening. It's about to begin. Your commentators, Michael McMullen and Carl Boyes.
Thanks very much, Tom. Shane Van Boening has already enjoyed one comfortable win today as he begins his quest for that unprecedented 6th US Open crown. I'd suggest, Carl, it might be a good bit more difficult for him tonight.
Yeah, he's playing young American Manny Perez, and I'm sure Manny's feeling a little bit nervous out there. Start of the match, you feel, is key. If he can stay with Shane, you just never know.
Van Boening was reasonably impressive earlier on against Al Shamari of Saudi Arabia.
You know, he's got his work cut out here. SVB is, you know, he really is clinical, and he's such a good front runner, is Shane. Once he gets a few racks in front, not many people have ever come back and beaten him, so that's why I just feel the start of the match is everything. Man, he's quite a talented player, young, you would think fairly fearless, but obviously this is SVB, like Ted said. He will have been watching Shane Van Boening for a lot of years when he was a young kid, so. Shane's just taking his time on this because he's queuing near the 9 ball. He's slightly hampered, isn't he? So this needs to be a little bit carefully. Yeah, good shot.
Well, it's a case of trying to impose his authority on the match and show Perez, who is very much the favourite here, and no better way of doing that than by breaking and running out in the first rack. And it looks as though Van Boening's going to do that. So all Perez did there was lose the lag, and as a result he's ended up losing the rack. Shane Van Boening with a break and run out leads Manny Perez 1-0. Alex Pagulayan on the hill here, Carl.
Yeah, Alex Pagulayan, such a clever player. Very smart bloke on a pool table. He's leading 10-5. It was a nice break off from Yanni, but he's hooked on the 1 ball, I believe.
Torsten Homan, another very experienced player, he's closing in on a place in the next round as well. 9-4 up on Kenny Loftus. And Johnny Archer now leading 9-8 against Konrad Piekarski of Poland. So some big names close to progressing into the next round. Ralph Souquet, who had a bit of a scare earlier, he's just starting against Simon Pickering. So we'll keep an eye on all of those matches. And Niels Fyan racing into a 3-0 lead over Paddy McLaughlin of Ireland. $4-0, just as I said that, he was just about to clinch the 4th rack, Fyan. So Shane Van Boening off to the ideal start here. Let's see if he can build on it in rack 2.
So Shane Van Boening's trying to pocket the 1 ball in the left centre. A little bit low, but he has made the wing ball. And the 1 ball's going in the right centre.
Yeah, I was going to say, a rare sight to see him not stick it in the left centre, but it just seems to have this magnetic attraction to the pockets when it's Van Boening breaking off.
The good thing with Shane's break is the fact that he does hit them very hard, so even if he doesn't make the ball he's intending to do, you know, he can often get a random ball because he's getting the balls moving so fast. And you see he's just looking at if there's a possible 2-3 combo.
Yeah, and it's not about just hitting them hard, is it? It's all about timing and getting that right.
Yeah, he often runs many racks while you're sat in the chair in a winner break format, does SVB. And it's kind of, this is his type of pool, winner breaks. Keep your opponent sat in your chair, and he's at it again here. He's played a good combo and he's on this 2-ball. Needs to play a good one here though, because the 5 ball is next to the 8. It's not tied up, there you can see. But his next shot to the 6, he's going to be running into the 8 ball, so this is going to need a good shot. Joshua Filler, the current world 9-ball champion, has made light work of his opponent. Wins 11-1 over David Anderson. Shane was okay there. He wasn't cannoning into the 8 ball. He had enough space, so this is what he can do. We're yet to see Manny get out of his chair.
Well, how frustrating must this be for Perez? He'll have built himself up for this. One of the biggest moments of his life, and here he is about to go 2-0 down, and he hasn't hit a ball yet.
Darren Appleton takes a 7-6 lead in that match against Richard Holiday.
So a break and run out in the first rack, same again in the second. Van Boening in control early on. He leads Manny Perez, the promising youngster, by 2 racks to 0. Alex Kazakis through, man who effectively came within a ball of winning the World Masters. He's beaten King Santi 11-1. You mentioned Joshua Filler. Jeffrey Ignacio has just gone through as well. And Johnny Archer has just moved to the hill. 10-8 now. He leads Konrad Piakarski.
Just these couple of balls for Alex the Lion, Pagulayan. So he moves into the next round as well. Big name in the world of 9-ball pool.
So Pagulayan is through, and if Johnny Archer can close out his match, then those two will meet in the next round. Something of a clash of the giants. This is more David versus Goliath, and Goliath is off to a flying start in the form of Shane Van Boening. Two 2-0 up.
Now you see again the SVB break. He's on the lowest ball time and time again. SVB seems to have more shots on the lowest ball off the break than any other player you've ever seen.
You mentioned earlier how he can do this, how he can go on streaks of just breaking and running out. Well, a chance to make it 3 in a row here. First won this title as a relative newcomer to the big time at the age of 24 back in 2007. Took him a while to win it again, but when he did in 2012, it proved to be the start of 3 in a row. Went out quite early then in 2015 when he was bidding for his 4th straight title, but then came back to win it in 16. So the last US Open in 2017 was his first chance to win that unprecedented 6th. Lost his first match to Nick Vandenberg. Progressed a long way through the loser's side, but eventually lost to Joshua Filler, who you were talking about just a few moments ago.
So Shane didn't quite get on the 3 ball how he wanted, so he's had to leave a thin shot on the 4, and it's caused a mistake. Just wanted to miss the 9 ball, didn't he? Come back across.
Oh, but he can just do no wrong in this match. Well, not quite the way he wanted to be on the 7, but he'll settle for this.
Yeah, this is very thin. In either pocket, very thin, so he's playing it top right pocket, kind of where the 8 ball is to come round. This is very missable. But he's made it, great shot. So he's rescued this rack with a good bank shot and a good thin cut. Mika Immonen, the former 2-time US Open champion, is currently 10-4 down against Hai Kai Luan from Taiwan.
But no such problems for the 5-time former champion, Shane Van Boening, breaking and running out for the 3rd rack in a row. He's in total control. Manny Perez still stuck in his chair. He's looking for a treble of sorts, or a hat-trick if you like, because he's the current US Open 8-ball and 10-ball champion. Quite something to hold the 8, 9 and 10-ball titles all at once. This the big one though, of course, in terms of US Opens. It's the American #1, top of the BCA rankings, so seeded 2nd behind the defending champion Jason Shaw of Scotland, who's made good progress today through the early rounds. What's Perez going to be thinking now? What's his psychology going to be, Carl? Sitting there just trying to keep himself prepared, I suppose, if he does get a chance.
Yeah, he's just got to literally grind this out, and in some ways he's got to just pray that Shane doesn't land on the lowest ball, and then when he does get his opportunity, he's got to kind of do the same. He's got to try and run a few racks back and show Shane he's here to play, not just to watch. So he's going to get out of his chair, because I don't believe there's any kind of pot on, there's no bank shot on. But he might be faced with a nasty little shot like this. So this is your first shot, Manny. This is the brutal side of 9-ball pool, especially when you're playing the 5-time US Open champion Shane Van Boening.
And not only is Perez hooked on the 1, but it's the sort of shot, if he gets it wrong, he's going to be sticking Van Boening right up with a good chance.
The cue ball, yeah, it's going from bad to worse. That was his first shot in this match, and he scratched. Not much he could do there, really. I could see what he was trying to do. He was just trying to split the 1 ball and the cue ball either side of the table.
And really, if you give Van Boening ball in hand and he's got any sort of chance, it's very unlikely he's not going to take full advantage.
Josh Roberts keeping up the good form. He's leading Tyler Steyer 7-4. This is the difference between the top players, the creme de la creme, and the good players. SVB can do this on the main match table.
Really, it all just goes back to the lag, doesn't it? Which is a bit of a lottery, really, at the best of times. And if Perez had won the lag, who knows? Van Boening might not have been able to get out of the traps as quick as he has. As it is, Perez has not potted a ball yet. And already he finds himself 4-0 down. Shane Van Boening in total control here and just cruising through this match. What can Perez do to stem the tide? I mentioned Johnny Archer closing in on a clash with Alex Pagulayan. Well, he's still got some work to do because Konrad Piakarski has pulled it back now to 10-9, so Archer still needs one more. Wu Jiaxing has just gone through, an 11-1 winner over Zachary Boss. Skylar Woodward struggling a bit, 5-3 down against the British player Imran Majid. And Niels Fyan 4-2 up now against the Irishman Paddy McLaughlin.
This is Elliot Sanderson versus Gabe Owen. We'll get back to that match. It's 1-1 at the moment. Elliot from England. SVB. Time and time again you see him do this to opponents. It's quite incredible. So this is a dry break this time.
Sounds like there's an air of shock in your voice there, Carl, and I can understand why, the way he's been breaking through this match.
So Manny Perez, can he fight a little comeback against his hero? Shane shaking his head there because he didn't make a ball on the break.
So having spent so much time in his chair, now that he does have the chance, can he get into his stroke quick enough to make it count?
Skylar Woodward's in a battle on his match. He's trailing 5-3 to Imran Majid. Do believe he went for the pot there, so didn't really threaten the pocket, did it?
Yeah, not really the sort of shot you want to be faced with when you're looking for your first pot of the match.
Darren Appleton, former two-time champ. He's locked in a battle with Richard Holliday from South Africa. 7-7. Shane's just trying to play safe here. Yeah, just get the one ball. Try to get the one ball on the top rail and keep the cue ball on the bottom rail. So I made a little bit of a mess of that. But it's not left much easy for Manny. Possible 1-6 Karen maybe.
Yeah, Perez was actually a little fortunate not to leave that one on to the middle for Van Boening. Seemed to be heading that way.
So he's tried to fire at a long bank. I don't really blame him for that. He's got to make something happen in this match.
Well, he has, because Van Boning's not giving him any assistance, so he does have to force the issue a bit.
He's got the hook, so SVB's going for the short cue. Very good with this type of shot, is Shane. Trying to pocket the one ball in the corner, jump over the 9 ball and draw the cue ball kind of up table off the side rail, because the 2 ball's all the way over to the left. And he sends the cue ball across the arena. So can Manny get off this board? We're going to get a proper look now because he's got ball in hand. Previous shots he's had have been quite difficult, so now we're going to get to see Manny run a few balls and try and get this comeback on the go.
You know, we said that earlier with that first pot that he took on. It wasn't the sort of ball you wanted to be facing when you were looking for your first pot of the match. Well, this is the sort of shot you want in that situation. We know he's a young player with quite a bit of ability, just hasn't really had a chance to show it yet. And he's coming in quite cold after spending so much time in his chair.
It's just a case of holding yourself together and, you know, try and play percentage pool. So that one's, it's not too bad. He can run round 3 rails for the 4 ball in the right bottom corner pocket. The legend Francisco Bustamante is losing 6-3 to Wang Can from China. Wang Can, very top player, so it's not a huge shock.
This match so far, a totally different experience for Perez to the one he had earlier today against Nicolas Charette of Canada. He came through that 11 racks to 1. So he's shown already today that he is a young player of promise and ability. He was runner-up in a couple of smaller events in 2018. It was his best year so far.
I think Manny's hooked himself there, so that's it's a bit of a shocker, that. He's way sure of where he wanted to be there. He wanted to be a good foot to the left of the table, or a foot to the right, but I wish he could take that one again. Got to be careful because we're playing 40 seconds, so that time soon wanders down. He still has an extension, of course. Needs the 8 ball to rescue, and it's not done, so he's left it on. SVB gets back to the table. Not looking good for Manny Perez.
Well, it's hard enough to take when you're losing rack after rack. But it's a different story when you've had a chance to really do something about it, which he didn't have in the earlier racks. And this could really be a big blow to Perez if he was to go 5-0 down, having had a pretty good chance of his own.
And Richard Holiday from South Africa takes an 8-7 lead over Darren Appleton, so that one's getting a little bit juicy now.
Skylar Woodward, you mentioned he was in trouble. He's fallen further into trouble. 6-3 down now against Imran Majid.
Yeah, Yeah, this is still early stages in this US Open, so you want to try and stay on that winner's side as long as possible. You go to that loser's bracket early, you've got a long old road to the final 16. Chris Mellin lost 11-10 earlier, didn't he? So he's got a massive task ahead now to try and get to the last 16.
And it's a different kind of pressure when you go to that side of the draw, because you know your next defeat will be your last. Well, this rack is going to hurt Perez far more than any of the ones that went before, because he's had a real chance to win this one. And in the end, it's the same outcome. Shane Van Boening tightening his grip on this match. He now leads by 5 racks to 0. And even when he's had his first dry break of the match, he still ended up winning the rack.
There's Gabe Owen, former US Open champion. He's playing Elliot Sanderson. Practiced many a session with Elliot Sanderson. Improving all the time. So this 9 ball to get back to 2-2. And there it is. Elliot's not played in many major pool tournaments, so this will be a big deal for him. Good to see him doing well. Wang Can wins another rack over Bustamante. Takes a 7-3 lead in that match.
So after winning the most closely contested rack of the match so far, Van Boening starts us off again. Very much on top here, and already almost halfway to a place in the next round. 5-0 he leads. And there's that one in the left middle again. Seen it so much from him across his 2 matches today.
Yeah, cue ball was going in, but the 7 ball helped him. And the 3 ball kicked the cue ball over this side of the table, so he can see the 2 ball. I'm just not certain if he can pot it without scratching in upper right. 5 balls up top end of the table. That's his... no, the 4 ball's his next ball. I was thinking it was the 5. I do apologise. So he might be able to play this in the other pocket. Yeah, he has. So that's worked out well. But he needs to land low on this 4. Otherwise, how do you get back on the 5? And he has landed low, so possible bank shot into right middle. That will send cue ball up towards the 5. So he's elected to just bump into the 9, and he's tried to leave full length bank into a big pocket where the 7 is down the bottom left hand table.
Just to bring you up to speed, the graphic does say 4 there, but it is 5-0 to Shane Van Boening.
What a shot from SVB, uses that big pocket.
Yeah, length of the table, bank shot, and getting the flick in. Everything going his way at the moment, but mostly because he's making it do so.
Yeah, he's got every shot in the book, Shane. Good vision, good cue ball control, breaks like a monster. And of course, he's won this event 5 times, so he knows what it takes.
He's spoken in interviews in the run-up to the event about just how much it would mean to him to make that history of becoming the first player to win 6. And he just looks as focused and determined as ever across both of his matches so far. He won his first comfortably. He's well on the way to doing the same here. So Shane van Boening 6-0 up. Alex Pagulayan already through. He beat Jani Siikkonen of Finland by 11 racks to 5 earlier. Let's hear what he had to say afterwards.
It's a strong start to this year's US Open. You lost just 8 racks so far. How do you feel day one's gone?
Day one's pretty good. I played pretty good my first match and my last match. Towards the end of my last match, I kind of like lost focus a little bit because I'm pulling away. Like I had like 9-3, and I forgot what I came to do here. So, and I said to myself, just keep bearing down. The game is not over, and just finish the game.
Is that how you refocus your mind? You just take yourself...
I like to talk to myself, and I'm afraid myself might talk back to me. But every time I lost focus, I like to talk to myself and trying to regain my focus.
And what will your preparations be overnight heading into day 2?
Like normal, you know, eat right, sleep good, do a little bit of exercise, meditate a little bit, do stretching, you know.
You're 3 wins away from the single elimination. What are your goals for this tournament?
See, my goal is just, you know, like to play the best I can, and whatever happens, you know how that goes, you know what I mean? Because I changed the way I think now. Once you get older, you realize that it's not about all winning, because even if you try to win all the time, it's impossible. So now what I do now is just play the best I can, and if I accomplish that, I win.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And next in store for Pagulayan is Johnny Archer, who's now completed his 11-9 win against Konrad Piłkarski of Poland. Meanwhile, back here, business as usual in rack 7.
Yeah, this is pretty unbelievable, really. Shane just needs this rack and he'll be 7-0 up, and you feel like we've not really seen much of Manny, to be fair. He's completely been frozen out of this match. He's been a spectator just like the rest of us.
And that's what will hurt him the most if he does end up going down to a heavy defeat. The chance that he hasn't had a chance to soak up this atmosphere and playing in this sort of environment. It's all experience. It's such an early stage, really, of his career. But he hasn't had the chance to exploit that opportunity to gain experience. Not yet, anyway. Still time to at least get a couple of racks on the board and feel he's been part of the match against one of the all-time greats. Van Boening is certainly underlining that status here. 7 racks to 0 he now leads. Now here's Bustamante, and as you were saying, Carl, he's really up against it in this one.
Yeah, Wang Can from China. Very underrated player. So Buster's got it all to do there. Darren Appleton locked at 8-8 against Richard Holliday from South Africa. So there's another battle going on there. These matches are going to come thick and fast now. There's going to be plenty of close matches.
Paddy McLaughlin, the Irishman, making a bit of a fight of it against Niels Fine. But just as I say that, it was 5-3, and just as I was speaking there, Fine has gone 6-3 in front in that one. Ralph Souquet had a bit of a scare earlier today, but he's off to a good start against Simon Pickering of Canada, leading by 3 racks to 1 now.
Elliot Sanderson from the UK, he's 4-2 up over Gay Bowen, so he's doing well in that match.
And another leading player in action now, Alban Ushan. He's just got underway in his match against Chris Alexander, and he's taken the opening rack. Back here, Shane van Boening has taken the opening 7 racks against Manny Perez.
Billy Thorpe, we've seen him on the arena table before. He's 5-1 up in his match against Vilmos Folders, so that's a tough one. As we see, Shane makes a ball, but he's no shot on this 2-ball. I bet Manny wishes this was the first rack. There you see, cue ball gets kicked over and slides in right behind that 3-ball. It's funny how the balls can come out so different every break. So he pushes out over to the left side of the table. And what do you do if you're Manny Perez?
Well, there's got to be a real fear now in him, because, okay, he obviously knew there was a good chance he was going to lose the match, but he would just hate for his big moment to finish in what really would be humiliation if he was to go through the whole match without winning a single rack.
Billy Thorpe wins another 2 racks, 7-1 up. What I've noticed is Billy and Shane both breaking the same, trying to make the 1-ball in the side. I thought a lot more players would try that break, but some players are still trying to do the soft spin break. I think as the tournament unfolds, you'll see more players trying to make the 1-ball in the side.
Van Boening showing no mercy there with that shot, keeping his young opponent right under pressure.
Skylar Woodward wins another rack, so he's pulled it back. He trails 6-4 in that match against Imran Majid.
Well, Perez needed a bit of fortune there. And it's just run safe for him. Having said that, Van Boening could be eyeing up the combination here.
Yeah, it's definitely on, isn't it? He needs the 2-ball to come off a little bit, and he needs to hold the cue ball, and that's pretty good, you know. He's got a tough shot now, though. He's got to try and get on that 4-ball.
Just must be feeling so relaxed out there. Not only is he playing well, but his opponent isn't putting him under any pressure. Even when he has had a faint chance, Perez hasn't been able to capitalise.
Well, will you look at that? That's a very useful nudge. That is perfect on the 4-ball.
Great shot, and the sort of shot that comes easily when you're in this frame of mind.
Tyler Steyer wins rack 15. He trails that match 8-7 against Josh Roberts. Josh Roberts beat Fu Che Wei in the first round, so he's got to be feeling good.
So the whitewash we spoke of, now looming large, as a real possibility. As Van Boening completes the formalities here to strengthen his grip on this match and to stretch his lead to 8 racks to 0. Still one more match to get underway in this round, and it's going to be the last match of the day on this table. Earl Strickland against Dennis Hatch. So we've got the 2 5-time winners of this title back to back.
Yeah, that's a real cracker to end the day with, I tell you. There'll be fireworks in that match. There always is when the Pearl's in town.
Well, this is just the sort of day Van Boening was hoping for. It's a long old battle, long way to get to the winning line if he is to win that unprecedented 6th US Open this week. And he hasn't really had to expend too much nervous energy today. Won his first match comfortably. El Shamari made a decent start, but really after that Van Boening was in total control, and he's been an absolute charge right from the off in this one. Miyasheko Fortunsky and Yukio Akaguriyama are in the early stages of their match. It's 1-1, and the significance of that is that the winner of that will play the winner of this, which looks almost certain to be Shane Van Boening, unless Perez can pull off one of the greatest and most unlikely turnarounds in US Open history here. And that shot is not going to help his cause, although, having potted the one, does Van Boening have a chance at the 2 here?
Yeah, Yukio, former world 9-ball champion. Another player that's going under the radar. Do believe he's hooked full ball behind this 9, so...
Yeah, definitely not the room to get through, so perhaps another reprieve for Perez and a chance to establish some sort of foothold here.
So it's decision time for Manny Perez. You're 8-0 down. You're hooked on the 2 ball. You may as well have a go at it, to be fair, because you've got to try and make something happen. I mean, what he needs to do is he needs to just try and win this rack and try and put a 3 or 4 pack together and get the scoreline back to 8-4, just to make Shane think. If he can't do that, he just cannot win this match.
Well, we said it earlier, didn't we? It's up to him to try and make something happen to turn this round, and that's not going to do it for him. He must be fearing the worst here again. And if this does turn into a very heavy defeat, Carl, how much of a blow will that be to Perez's confidence in the long term? Is he going to be philosophical about it and just say he was up against one of the all-time greats and didn't get much of a chance, or will it be something that will take a while to get over?
No, I mean, to be fair, he's not really done much wrong, has he? I mean, he was 3-0 down and he's played 1 kick shot, so just the start of the match kind of got away from him. Start of the match was more important for Manny than it was for Shane, because Shane can come back in any match, and it's about applying pressure. I know he's 8-0 down, but in a winner break format, if you can try and run 3, 4, 5 pack, you're actually still in the match. But Shane's just got all the experience. Things just kind of happen for Shane Van Boening. He kind of makes them happen, if you like.
Niels Fyan starting to get a grip on his match against Paddy McLaughlin. He's pulled away now to 7-3 in front.
Yeah, also Darren Appleton was 8-7 down. He's won 3 on the spin. He goes 10-8 up. That was a match you would expect him to win, so It's been a bit of a grind, but he's getting the job done. Tyler Dyer wins a rack, so he was down in that match. It's now 8-8. Look at this for a shot. How do you like that? Spins it round, perfect on the 5. SVB. Still a long way to go, of course, in this winners bracket. Shane's second match, the last 16. But as I've said before, you don't want to lose early. If you're going to lose that life, you could do with losing it in round 5 ideally. 4, you'd probably have to win 4 or 5 matches still.
Yeah, you say long way to go in the draw, but probably not a long way to go in this match now. And you would really think the only significant question at this stage is whether or not Perez is going to get a single rack on the board.
Imran Majid wins rack 11, takes a 7-4 lead over Skylar Woodward. Bit of a man of the moment, been playing well, so there's a little bit of a shock going on there. Still a long way to go, of course. Billy Thorpe 8-1 up against Vilmos Folders. Vilmos now lives in Las Vegas, so a bit of a local boy.
Shane Van Boening will be back here in November at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas to play in the Mosconi Cup. He's played in 12 of them before, but he's only actually been on the winning team twice, because his era has coincided with a very unproductive era for the Americans in the Mosconi Cup. But on both of those occasions that he's been on the winning team, he's been the man to clinch the winning point. He did it against Ralph Souquet in 2009. As the Americans won 11-7, and then when they won 11-9 at Alexandra Palace in London towards the end of last year, he was the one who delivered the decisive blow again with a 5-3 victory over Alexander Kazakis. Now, of course, the Americans will want to back that up by winning on home turf. But all that, some months away yet. The end of this match might be only minutes away.
Here we get another look. The famous Van Boening breakoff. Doesn't make the 1 ball, but he makes other balls. Don't believe this 1 passes the 2. So that's going to cause a few problems.
Trademark 1 in the side pocket almost happened again. Seemed to come off both jaws before deciding to turn away.
This is a super difficult shot he's taking on. I think he's playing the 1-2 ball, trying to pocket 2 ball in bottom left. Of course, when you've got a 9-0 lead, you kind of feel like you can take that shot on. Is the 2 ball going to spoil the party for Manny? It's not. So he's going to get another go.
We're always looking for new young stars to come through in the game, Carl, and Manny Perez is one who could fit into that category. So with that in mind, I think as a neutral, you wouldn't really want to see him suffer the humiliation of a whitewash here. And this is a chance to avert it.
No, as you said, you never want to see a player lose 11-0, or a donut, as we call it on tour. when you beat someone 7, 8, 9, 10, 0. We say, yeah, give him the old donut. This is a little tester though, quite long. Have to play this with a bit of right hand spin just to hold for the 5. So we'll see if we can pass this little test.
It's a horrible shot to have when you're just desperate to win a rack and you're really feeling the pressure. And he's played it well.
Yeah, I thought that was the 8 ball. I keep getting mistaken because the 4 ball's quite dark, isn't it?
I know.
I'm going to have to look at the bottom of the screen.
There are a few of those actually where a couple of different balls look very similar from any sort of distance.
Yeah, we're still waiting for the missing container what had the pool balls on. So this is key shot now. If he can get this one right, it could be off the board. And that looks pretty good. And it's a nice angle, so I think we're all about to see Manny Perez go off the board. I'm just wondering if there'll be a few extra claps. I don't think Shane Van Boening will be clapping, put it that way.
Well, he'd probably have loved to complete the whitewash. Like all great champions, when he has his opponents on the ropes, he wants to keep pummeling them, get them finished off with no mercy. But Perez has averted the whitewash, and I think, as you say, most people will be pleased to see that. He has got a bit of a clap for it. So Shane Van Boening still very much in control, but Manny Perez off the mark now. It's 9-1.
Yeah, Darren Appleton gets the job done. 11-9. There you see Wang Can. He's on the hill against Boosty. You can't see Buster winning 7 on the spin. But you never know. Imran Majid wins rack 12, so he's 8-4 up against Skylar Woodward. Many people fancied Skylar's chances this year, but if he loses that one, he has got a long road in the losers bracket. Chang Jung Lin, my tournament pick, is 9-1 up against Adam Lilly. So Bustamante is at the table, but such a tall order. Oh no, he's made a mistake. It's Wang Can, so Wang Can is at the table for the match. Comes from a background of Chinese 8-ball, so he's not going to miss many balls. And we get to see Manny Perez's break shot at last.
Yeah, and it's not bad. He's got the 1. Yeah. Now, is he on the 2? Oh, it's travelled just a little further than he would have wanted.
I tell you what, he could have done with winning the lag, couldn't he? Because what a break that is. That's one of the best breaks we've seen.
Nothing wrong with that at all. I'd say he hit that with a measure of relief as well, Carl, having finally got his first rack on the board. A certain amount of freedom about the shot.
Yeah, he's made 3 balls, so if he can knock this 2 ball in, you would think he's naturally going to be on the 4. Wouldn't it be an amazing story if somebody just like run the match out? 9-1 down and just run the full set out on SVB. That would make front pages, I think.
I think that's a challenge for you, Carl. You're probably the only man who would have the guts and the courage to pull off something like that. Tell you what, though, Perez is making short work of this.
Got to really get into this cue ball, though. You don't want to scratch. And there we go. That was always the problem. It's gone near, but it stayed dry. So very fortunate there. He just didn't get into the cue ball enough, did he?
And this, just a slightly unpleasant shot he's facing next. 9-2 is still really one-sided, but it looks a whole lot better than 9-0.
So Wang Can from China did beat Bustamante 11-4. Bustamante goes into the losers section. Tyler Steyer is tied at 9-9 against Josh Roberts.
Oh, what a shame that is for Perez. We said it was an awkward one that he'd been left with. And surely now, the mini revival, or Manny revival, ends there.
Jason Theron from South Africa. He's leading Ruslan Chinahov from Russia 10-7, so I'm not saying it's a shock, but many people would have thought Ruslan in that match.
So Perez missed a tricky 7 he'd left himself. Van Boening has cleared the last 3 balls. He's on the hill now, 10-1.
Yeah, you got a feel for Manny. Start of the match killed him really. Didn't get many goals, and as I said, SVB might just be the best front runner in the game of pool. Bit of jet lag there from South Dakota.
And we've come all the way across the Atlantic. If anyone should have jet lag, it's us. What's he complaining about? Hey?
I hear you.
Well, good thing is he'll probably be able to go back and rest pretty soon anyway, because it doesn't look like this match has much distance left to run.
I can see in the distance waiting just over Van Bonen's left shoulder. Strickland's lurking. There he is. You can just see him walking past. He's got his cues in his hand, his bag over his shoulder, his finger extensions, his tape, his weights. He's got everything.
Yeah, well, that cue case slung over his shoulder looks like a bit of a gunslinger. Well, he might not have to wait too much longer now to get on the table. Shane Van Boening just needs one more rack, and he's got the break here, and we know how well he's been breaking.
Yeah, just watch the one ball. And there you see, vanishes. Straight
Is the 9 going to follow it?
Oh, this time.
Oh!
Tried twice, didn't it? And he's no shot on the 2 ball. Let's have a look at this 9 ball. Well, there's the 1. Gets kicked off the cue ball, doesn't it? Looks like it's going to go. Oh, that's amazing.
Even then, the 5 catches it at a slightly different angle and it's going in. And that would have been what you call finishing in style.
Josh Roberts is the first man on the hill in that All-American battle. He's leading Tyler Steyer, Mosconi Cup player, 10-9. Skylar Woodward has won Iraq. He trails 8-5 in that match against Imran Majid.
That would be right up there with the upsets of this opening day, if he was to lose that.
Yeah, this is a tough shot, this. He might even play thin off this and just leave 2 ball on the back rail and try and get distance with the cue ball. I mean, if he can pot it without scratching, he may attempt that. He's not happy, he's up and down. He's used his extension, so that's why he's got another 30 seconds there, as you see it ticking down in the bottom right of the screen. Yeah, so he's overcut it. Tried to get 2 ball on the back rail and distance, so he's made a pretty good job of that. showing discipline, isn't he? 10-1 up, still playing the safety shots.
I was thinking that he looks every bit as focused on this rack as he has on all the ones that have gone before, even though he knows he's basically got the match won now, and it's just a question of finishing it off. Well, I think Van Boening might just be able to get through to this too.
Yeah, I don't blame Manny there. He's just tried to get the balls moving, make something happen. He knows he's not going to win this match, let's be honest, so Shane might be taking on, is the 2-9 close? Or the 2 off the 9? Nearly kicks it clean in, so Manny may as well have a go at the thin pot here. You just sense when Shane's 10-1 up and you're watching. It's a case of when, not if. Decides to play safe though, so it's fair enough.
Yeah, he's got a lot of years left in him, Perez, and they'll include a lot of days much better than this. And he may well look back on this as a match that he's learned a lot from, that will help him go forward from here. Still in the tournament, of course. He'll go to the losers bracket. He's been taught a 9-ball lesson by that man who, unusually for this match, is in his chair.
So the save from Manny has given him a little opportunity to change that 1 to a 2, so maybe he's thinking just try and make this a little bit more respectful.
Not as straightforward as you would like in the position he's in. Some work to do to win the rack from here. And in the end, it's broken down straight away, and that may well have been Manny Perez's last shot.
Tyler Steyer is Hill against Josh Roberts. It's a 1-rack shootout there, so there'll be some serious pressure in that match. Skylar Woodward wins the 14th rack, so he's still hanging in there. He trails 8-6 in that one. Chang Young Lin, 11-1, makes light work of Adam Lilly, so he progresses. Don't forget, folks, Earl the Pearl Strickland. He's up next against the Hatchet Man, Dennis Hatch. 2 huge characters in the world of 9-ball pool.
Shane Van Boening is also one of the game's big figures. And he's clearly going to finish off this match here. An impressive day for him. He's only lost 5 racks in his 2 matches. He only lost 1 in this. He went 9-0 up. Perez did manage to avert the whitewash.